interview.
En 'n hartlike welkom terug na Gravity Live se From the Sideline. Ja, dit is ek alleen, arme Annaitjie lê in die bed, sy's bietjie siek. So ons sal maar die show vir vanaand sal ons run. Again, we want to say right from the start, thank you very, very much to all our sponsors that makes FTS possible. Indongo Toyota, Click Internet, Food Lovers, you all are great sponsors of this event, of FTS, and without you guys, this won't be able to be sent out to the public. So yeah, we've got a stacked show tonight. We went out and had a little bit of a chat with the under 21 hockey players that's going to play the Junior Africa Cup next week from Friday. We'll have a look at those interviews that we did. We had Zoe Waldschmidt in here. We're going to chat a little bit with her. Kristen is going to chat with her on motocross things. And yeah, then just a little bit of a recap of everything that happened during the week that passed. But before we go to the show, let's do some ads. Welcome back after that ad. So let's jump right into hockey first. We went out yesterday onto the sideline. Kristen had a nice chat with the under 21 coaches and players for field hockey in preparation of the Junior Africa Cup. And let's see what they had to say.
Yes, dankie Anna vir daai lekker offload. Ons is hier pitchside and actually for once in a while we're actually doing the show from the sideline. Can you believe it or not? So we're here with the men's coaches as well as one of the players of the under 20 Namibia men's players. So Jan, ek sal die eerste vraag na jou toe direk. How has the preparations been going for the Junior Africa Championships?
Well, we're busy for quite a while now. The only problem that we experience is with some of our players that in South Africa.
Yes.
We cannot include them over here. With that, they've got a program that they play on the other side. Yeah. But it would be nice if all 18 of them could be in Windhoek and we could do our preparation with every player.
I understand. And how do you keep the team focused under such immense pressure and with a big tournament coming up? Is there struggles in keeping momentum?
I think the pressure for the players is a good thing. It makes them realize what we are working for. I mean, for the Junior Africa Cup, Jack, not Jack Furry, but Jack. It's a matter of 3 teams will go through to the World Cup.
Okay.
So if we can end up in the top 3 for the first time ever in the history of Namibia, the under 21s will go to the World Cup.
I was just about to ask actually what this tournament would mean to Namibia, but obviously there's a lot on stake here. It can mean World Cup qualifiers, putting us even more on the map in the hockey sphere. Yeah. So thank you for that, Uman. Randy, I just wanted to ask, what are your expectations of the team going into this tournament?
We put a lot of hard work into the preparation. Our challenge is, as what Johannes highlighted, is now once the South African contingent comes, is to actually gel as a unit.
Yes.
We plan to play Zimbabwe next week Tuesday, and then the next day we play Egypt. And the whole idea is to integrate our game plan involving our call it international players, be it they're coming in from the UK or from South Africa, and then the locals. The expectations are we would like to obviously give a really good account of ourselves. Our target is to try and achieve a top 3.
Okay.
That is the target. We've got to be aiming high, and that's really what we're going to work for. We've worked extremely hard. The teams, the locals here have worked really hard, as have the others, and we're looking forward to the warm-up games, which I think will give us a really good indication where we are and what our expectations will be going forward.
Awesome, that's great to hear that there are high standards. Talking about team dynamic, Jack, how old are you? Is it your first time in the team?
So I'm currently turned 20 in March.
Okay.
So my coach. So the majority of the team is it's a good mix. So due to last year's being postponed, we have a bunch of 22-year-olds that are allowed to play in this tournament right now.
Okay.
So I think we're losing after this tournament, I think 4 or 5.
Yeah.
But mostly it's between 21 to, I think the youngest is 17.
Alright. And tell me, those older players in the team, do they play a big role in kind of keeping the team together? Obviously they're a bit more mature guys in the team. What are the role that they play?
I think it's quite big because it's hard I know when I was playing for my first caps for NAM, it's hard to you look up to these guys and you know them but you don't know them.
Yeah.
So it's a nice thing because in the middle, like for instance me and Owen and some of the other guys, we gel together quite often because we have played so long together.
Yes.
With a few newer guys that haven't really been playing with us a lot, but we're trying to implement them and trying to get them used to how we try to get our mindset and just the way we want to try and play for this upcoming tournament.
Okay, no, that's awesome. One more question, then we'll go back to the studio. Is there any highlights or matches that you are really looking forward to with this tournament?
Personally, no. The way I think or see it is just I want to focus one match at a time, not depending on who's the opposition.
Yeah.
I feel we can have a great tournament because we have the team for it, we have the players and mentality for it.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of, doesn't matter we're playing against, we're going to play our game, we're going to give it all. We have a few race days as well, so it's just going to give it 100% every time.
Awesome, there you heard it, one match at a time. Thank you so much, gentlemen. All the best with the preparations, and we'll be watching you guys from the sideline.
Thank you.
Azay. So we are back here again from the sideline of the VIS Astro. We are this time with a women's coach as well as a player from the under-21 women's teams. So I'll start somewhere with you, coach. How big is this tournament for Namibia hockey?
For Namibian hockey, especially for the juniors, this is huge because it hasn't happened for a while. We hosted it, I think, almost 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And then we just missed out, and this time this is big for us. We want to qualify. That's how big this tournament is, really, for Namibian hockey, especially with our youngsters.
And so, saying that you want to qualify, what are now the requirements going forward? What is your aim really going into this tournament? I believe when you talk about qualifiers, you're talking about the World Cup. So what would be the requirements to get to that point?
So the requirements for our team is we want to make top 2, at least. But to qualify, it is the top 3 teams that will go through to the World Cup, and you will have big competition there. I mean, South Africa is there. Zimbabwe has gone to every single Junior World Cup with South Africa, so they know what's out there and how to prepare as well. So it's going to be tough. It's not going to be an easy road.
All right, no, I hear you. Let's quickly turn here to the player, Annika. How are you doing?
I'm doing very good, thank you.
That's awesome. So I have a question for you. How would you say is the dynamic or the vibe of your team currently? Do you guys gel well together? Any concerns, or do you think you guys have a really good team spirit going on?
I think we are a very strong team. We support each other, especially with the elder ones, having there to lead the youngers. And yeah, we really we really back each other. When we need to be hard, we are hard, and then we will always confront each other on the wrongs and the rights. So yeah, we really support each other.
Awesome. It's so great to see that there's a healthy form of conflict. And you know, I was speaking to the boys just now, and they also mentioned that the older players play actually a key role. And you mentioned it as well, that the older ones are always leading the younger ones. What is the demographic? How many old players, when I say old, I mean now like 20 and 21-year-olds. How many older players are there compared to the younger ones?
No, we are actually a very, very young team.
Okay.
I think we only have about 3 under 21s that's actually either 20 or 21, and then we have around 5 19-year-olds, and from there on it's up to 16. So it's a very, very young team, but it's very good actually. So the elders can always lead the youngest, and helping them, since we have more experience and so on, building up to where the youngest can be one day.
All right. So Cedric, one last question for you, then I'll let you guys get back to training. What would you like to tell the Namibian public going into this tournament?
Well, you're going to see some of these youngsters, they putting up some fireworks. They want to qualify. So you're going to see them fighting for every single game, not just on the field, but off the field, being in the spirit of this team. You're going to see all the players in this team also trying to get this team to the World Cup. So this is really a team dynamic that it's going to show for the Namibians out there, and it's going to be good for the younger players that wants to be in this team that for the next 2-3 years. See.
Thank you so much. I hope you guys do well in your preparations, and we will also be watching you as much as we will be watching the men. Take care.
Omtrent opgewonde oor die Jack wat aan die kom is. Maak seker julle kom uit by WAS se Astro van die 18de tot die 25ste. So dis van volgende week Vrydag af begin die aksie, en dit hardloop al die pad deur tot volgende Vrydag waar die finals dan gaan gespeel word. Lekker klomp lande wat hier is, kom ondersteun asseblief die spanne. Ouens van Egypte, Uganda, Kenia, Suid-Afrika natuurlik, ons, Zim en Zimbabwe. Ja, dit gaan 'n baie lekker ene wees, julle moet kom check. Okay, dan beweeg ons 'n bietjie oor na wat dingetjies wat gebeur het hierdie week. Ons spannetjie het uitgegaan daar na Walvis Bay toe om 'n bietjie livestreaming daar te gaan doen. Ek hoop julle almal het gaan kyk en het saam met ons beleef. Dit was daar in Walvis Bay gewees. Narkies het vir WAP sy eerste span in rugby nou waar ons is. Het Narkies teen WAP sy eerste span gespeel. Ek moet nogal sê dit was 'n tie game geweest. Kyk, die manne het omtrent geswoeg en gesweet, maar op die einde van die dag het WAP getriomfeer daarso met 13 punte teenoor 10. Narkies wat ek dink was 'n bietjie ongelukkig geweest, maar dit was 'n baie close match, en as dit is waarna ons kan uitsien vir die res van die seisoen, dan dink ek gaan ons 'n lekker rugby seisoen voor ons hand hê. Dan het hulle Walvis Bay 2 gespeel teen die Duine 2, en daarso het Walvis Bay Narkies het so 'n bietjie weggehardloop met die game daar op 'n stadium, en hulle het 17-0 daar gewen. En dan 'n bietjie hockey ook gespeel daar so in Walvis Bay, invitational span van Zimbabwe af, Watershed College. Hulle het gespeel teen die Narkies span, en Narkies het ook daar briljant gespeel, moet ek vir hulle sê, vir hulle kudos gee daarso, en het daai game 3-0 gewen. So dit was vir die naweek daar by Walvis Bay gewees, baie lekker gewees, lekker mistig gewees, en toe kom die son uit, en toe kry ons weer warm. Typiese seeweer vir jou daarso. Nou ja, dit is alles wat die naweek gebeur het. Kom ons gaan oor na 'n breek toe, en dan daarna dan gesels Christen 'n bietjie met Zoe oor motorfietsse.
guys, I'm now back in studio. I was for a moment there by the VIS hockey fields, but now I'm here with Zoe Waldschmidt. Hi, Zoe.
Hello.
Very interesting athlete, this. A sport that girls don't normally do, but she's going to be a bit of a groundbreaker in this week's special guest. So to start off with, tell us a bit about yourself.
Hi, so I'm Zoe. I'm 19, and I've basically been doing the sport since I was about 5. And yeah, it's basically been a dream of mine to do because obviously with my dad, he inspired me a lot. And yeah.
Yeah, obviously your dad is quite a household name in the motocross. Just for those who are not sure, have never heard of her name, you should really go read her up. Search her on Google. There's a bunch of articles from the Namibian. She's a motocross and endurance rider, if I'm correct. There we go. So to start off talking about the sport, what inspired you to do something so out of the box? Like, how old were you when you rode your first bike? And just tell us a bit about how that started.
So basically what inspired me was obviously my dad doing it for so many years. So when I was born, there was just bikes all around me the whole time. And it was actually funny because I wanted to do horse riding. And then my dad said that just remember, a horse dies, a bike doesn't.
Wow, okay.
So then I obviously chose riding. And I got my first bike, which was a quad, at 5. And then I got a trail bike when I was about 7. And my mom actually told me the other day that I thought it was only when I was born that I was interested, but apparently when I was in her stomach, my first kick was actually at a motocross race when my dad was on the start gate.
No way. What? That's something written in Hollywood. That's amazing. But you know, you were talking about horse riding. I just thought about it now. Okay, horses do die. That's some stoic knowledge there from your dad. But if you think about it, how much horsepower does a bike have, more or less?
Yo, that's a very difficult question to ask me with all the different CCs. But it's, and obviously also if you modify it, there's a lot more horsepower. So it's very difficult to say. So yeah, I can't really answer that one.
No worries. The reason why I'm saying this is you couldn't end up riding a horse, but now you technically can ride a bunch of horses in an engine. That was just a bad joke I wanted to throw in there. Anyways, let's now move on to question number 2. So obviously you were in Australia not too long ago, competing in the Women's Oceania motocross event. How was that for you? Did you learn anything new? Tell us a bit about the experience.
It was honestly a privilege to be part in the team because we were obviously the first African team of girls to go over. And they chose the top 5 best riders in Africa. And it was very nerve-wracking there because here we're only about, if we're lucky on a day, like 5 girls on the start gate. And 2 years ago, I did do MX of Nations in Cape Town, and that was then, at that time, my biggest race because we were 14 girls. And then in Australia, we were 38 girls on the start gate, so it was very nerve-wracking. And just to think, the New Zealanders and Australians and Americans that were there, like they get chosen out of about 50 plus riders of girls because of how big their country is. And to think how those top girls they ride, you would honestly think it's men. And what I learned there as well is it was obviously a very different track to ours. Like their ruts, our ruts like only get like this big. Their ruts got like, at the 3rd race, you couldn't even see our tires anymore. So that was a real curve for us that they put there because we're not used to it. And we can't practice it here in Africa because we don't have soil like that. So basically, just to be on a new track was also very amazing to me. And yeah, to just see that it's not just here that women, how can I say, because the sport isn't women, if I can say, a lot of people don't think women can do it or should do it. Just to see how many girls are there and how much recognition we got there was really nice.
All right. So we'll get back to that point on the women in motocross just now, but how does it feel to be like part of the first Africans to be at that event?
It was really when I got the call and my mom told me, I was first shocked, then I was happy, and then after that, then I was first not getting my hopes up too much because we first had to finalize it and make sure that everything was going to work out because majority of the time it's a lot of talk and nothing actually gets done. Then when it was finalized, I was really amazed and not like all of us girls that went there, like when we got onto the plane, we all said like, it doesn't feel real. Like it doesn't feel like we're going to Australia. And then the moment when we got onto that start gate, then it like kicked into us, okay, like this is happening. It's not a dream anymore. The dream's actually coming true.
And so I'm going to dive a bit into behind the scenes, pick your brain a bit. How do you, for an event like this event in Australia, how do you prepare yourself mentally and physically to the point where you're now there at the starting line?
So basically for physical, I obviously do athletics as well. So it was in athletics season, so that with my fitness helps. So it's killing two birds with one stone. And then I started gymming at Sold Out, doing HIIT classes for the high intensity training, because that's got a lot to do on riding a bike and basically core and everything. And then I also went practicing a lot more than I usually do. But it was also very unfortunate because it was raining so much, so majority of the time we got rained out. And mentally, basically my dad just spoke to me a lot of how to, don't be nervous, just ride how you ride. And our captain, Leah Haygates, who was with us, she actually rode in Germany last year, so she already knew how things were going to go, so she gave us a kind of a background of how it's going to be and how it's going to feel. So that helped a lot, how she had that experience.
Okay, awesome. All right, now going a bit into the motocross or motorsport community in Namibia. You talked about how not everyone always expects a girl to be doing this type of sport. What's it like to be a girl in the Namibian motocross community? Is there challenges? Maybe something you want to, now being on air, something you want to share with all those aspiring young riders, guys and girls? Just obviously you've experienced a lot now being in Australia, being in Cape Town. Just share a bit of your knowledge on that as well.
Being in the community is actually really nice because we're all very friendly. Everybody helps each other. Even though we have our enemies on the track, if I can say, it's not that type of sport. If I can say that, okay, this guy's brake pad broke. No, I have an extra one in the car. I'm not going to give it to him. A lot of the riders want them to ride because it's fun to have competition and you want to be fair. And being a girl in this community, I don't feel left out because I've also grown up with them all since such a young age. And it's basically, I don't think any other community could compare to that, of how helpful and how we all know each other that well, and also Windhoek being so small, that also helps. So
Oh, awesome. All right. And do you think Namibia as a country could perhaps do more to improve this sport and to improve young riders like yourself, their chances to get on platforms where they can show their talent? Do you think that more could be done?
So this year we're actually trying to do that. So obviously with interviews and awareness and all of that, because a lot of people don't know when you say, I ride a bike, they're like, okay, you cycle. Not a lot of people know what is motocross or enduro. And also to try, for the boys, it's quite easy to convince because, a guy would do anything that has an engine. But for the girls, it's quite challenging because we obviously think a bit more than guys. And the young kids are now getting more exposure because we can see in the 50s and the 65s, it's growing. And it is a good thing to start at such a young age because, like my dad always says, you have to start, you can't go from a 65 to a 125 and skip 85. It's you have to go through every bike to get used to it. And obviously with the balance and everything, it's just better to start at a young age because then you're also more reckless, if I can say, because you don't think that much of if you can break something.
Okay. All right, we're almost done with the interview. Just a personal question. If you're not on a bike, what do you like to do for fun?
So if I'm not on the bike, I'm either on an athletics track doing running, and I'm also in charge of the cheerleading at our school, so I also do that for fun. And basically if I can go, me and my dad go riding sometimes on Sundays depending on how the weekend is. We do that for fun, and I basically also chilling at home and with your friends for fun.
Yes. Awesome. Thank you so much, Zoe, for this lekker insight into the world of motocross, specifically in Namibia. And that was that. Thank you, guys.
Do you remember when a trip to the store wasn't just a chore, but an adventure? When picking the exact goods you wanted required a personal touch. After all, nothing beats walking down an aisle filled with the freshest produce or speaking to a blockman who knows exactly what you need, and being spoilt for choice with every other want and desire you may have. Why not put the fun back in shopping with a wholesome adventure where you can experience the range, the freshness, the value, and the wonder, along with a friendly team ready to serve you. This is shopping, how it's meant to be. This is Food Lovers Market. It's in the experience.
Yes, everyone, and we are back once again. For those who are probably wondering, in that segment where I was talking to the hockey guys, I said thank you for the offload from Anna. The truth is I just miss her so much that I confuse Christo for Anna, so sorry about that one. Anna, I hope you feel better. So we're just going to catch up on some of the other sport news that's been happening in this past week, and I also must start out with what's happening this weekend. So the under 16 and under 18 rugby trials are going to be taking place. For all those players that are going to be there, we wish you best of luck and play your hearts out. Talking about rugby, the Windhoek Gym under 13 boys were also recently in Stellenbosch, and they made us so proud out there. Not only for the school, but us as a Namibian country, we're really proud of you boys. They basically won all their games. Well done for that. And then
Yeah, thanks, Kristen. Yeah, the hockey was also busy. Hockey that happened over the last week. My school teams went and to South Africa hockey tournaments. VIS's ladies, first team ladies, they went to St. Mary's in Johannesburg. I think it was a difficult path there for them, but I think also with that being said, I think they gained valuable experience there, and I think it's good preparation for them now for the school league that's coming up now. Then on to another festival that was being played. It was in Cape Town. That was the Belgotex tournament. Gymnasium boys and girls played there. VIS boys played there. Then Pro Ed also played boys and girls. And then St. Paul's, only their girls team went there. So a special shout out to the St. Paul's ladies. It's the first time ever that a non-South African schools team reached the finals, and it was a epic final. I'll tell you, nail biting right to the end. And unfortunately, as it goes right at the end, the other team scored and we came second. But I know there was a couple of the senior players that wasn't there. Some of them had injuries and some of them had other commitments. But I think for the team that was there, I think it's good exposure for the younger ones that stood in for the older ones. And yeah, no, they did very well. And that's about it for the hockey. This weekend, there's I can maybe just mention it at WAP at Wandersfield. There's the NAPSO Sevens Blitz Sevens. Yeah. So it's a sevens tournament for hockey. That's going to be there from Friday afternoon midday to Saturday 2:00 they finish. Yeah, and that's about it. But I see there's a couple of socks lying there, and show there to the audience. Kerels, kyk hierdie mooi sokkies, lekker bond. Christa, vertel my 'n bietjie, wat is die sokkies se storie?
So hierdie sokkies, they're not just a reminder to eat your veggies and boost your vitamin C in this changing season. You know, there's a bit sniffles here and there. Please do boost up your immune systems. But this is actually also a prize going to one of the viewers from last week. So for those of us who watched the video last week, you might have noticed that there was a competition right at the end. So the question was, how many teams are competing in the Jacks this coming, I think it's Easter weekend, yeah. And also to name the teams. So there was one lucky winner who's going to have these pair of socks, and that's Madeleine Creer. Well done to you. We will get in contact with you probably through Facebook just to give you this handout. So thank you so much for participating in that one. And I think that's that. In honor of Anna, just for years, and see you next week.
Preview.